Well, the biggest news that's occurred within the past 7 days has definitely been the Nicki Minaj, and
7 days.
I said within the last 7 days, like within the past week, the
Oh,
biggest.
but really, this was last Sunday, like 48, 72 hours.
But it just,
Yeah, I see what you mean. I see what you mean. The last week.
yes. Nicki Minaj versus Meg The Stallion. We're gonna do real quick backstory. So, for those of y'all that don't know, because I know there's a lot of people that might be confused as to why there's any beef in the first place. So, and this is all alleged, but alleged in the sense that it's all everything is he say, she say kind of thing. But there's been a lot of conversations about Megan Thee Stallion being problematic because of the way that she deals with men, the way that she was treating her best friend Kelsey, some of the different stuff that she said to people
We were just talking about,
publicly and privately.
and we were
There's
just talking about that too.
yeah,
Meg's a weirdo too. Cause why were you sleeping with Tori when he was sleeping with your friend Kelsey? But okay, keep going. Sorry. This ain't because funny because that ties into what we were just talking about.
so there's all of these alleged things which has rubbed people the wrong way. Supposedly, like we see, like when Drake unfollowed her, and some other people in the industry maybe off put by
Party too. Her ex
yeah
party. Yep.
Parson Fontaine.
That whole thing.
There's just been a lot of people kind of off put by her actions. I think she had like that issue with the baby at one point. Obviously, the Tory Lane situation. So there's just this notion
A
that she might
pattern.
be problematic or so forth. So this is all speculation and all alleged. I'm not Tasha K. So what we believe to happen, and I don't want to speak for you, but supposedly what seems to have happened is that Meg has done something either publicly. Well, she has done stuff publicly that we know Nicki has an issue with, which she addressed.
Yeah.
But who knows what was said privately as well, which we could assume was worse than the things that she's said publicly. But what we know for a fact have happened is that Meg alluded to Nicki, um, that Nicki, well, she was basically trying to suggest to Nicki that she should abort her baby if she ever got pregnant
And to drink alcohol
and to drink alcohol. Um,
during the hot girl summer era.
right when they were on live together, and this is supposedly after Nicki had already mentioned that she's trying to have a baby.
And she got pregnant soon after.
Right. So we know that for a fact to be off-putting, and Nicki, I think, quoted that video in a tweet or something during her recent tirade against Meg on Twitter. So from what we don't know a lot of what might have started it, but that would definitely be one of those things. And I would just think that like her being drunk all the time and the supposed alcoholism, I think she basically just rubbed people like the
Yeah.
wrong way,
Says crazy things.
says crazy things, and Nicki might have been put off by that, and then that led to her throwing shots at Meg on Red Ruby the Sleeves, right? Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
with the
And I think
quote
she
the
she was throwing
horses.
shots at her before that too.
Yeah, I
Like
would
very
imagine
subtle
so.
stuff that people knew was towards Meg.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we know.
And people speculate that the WAP video might have been maybe Nicki's mad. Maybe there was conversations behind the scenes about
Oh yeah, Cardi
Cardi.
B. Yeah, that
Because
whole.
Nicki said that Meg apparently allegedly have called her a dirty Mexican. So it's like, maybe Nicki felt like Meg's my friend, and now you're collabing with Cardi, and then they have one literally the biggest female collabs ever
Ever. Yeah.
with that. So she could feel a way about that.
Yeah.
But
So.
yeah, she's been throwing shots for years, clearly, and then Red Ruby Sleeve was the most clear one
Yep.
with the Christopher Reeves. Oh, that's the worst. Christopher
Right, and
Reeves.
obviously, you know, the streets talk, and by the streets we just mean the internet. Streets talk. People are gonna. That's gonna get back to the artists at some point.
Yeah.
Probably immediately.
Yeah.
Like especially for those who get the bars. Like
Yeah.
I caught that one immediately.
And obviously, she performed the song in front of them at the VMAs or whatever that was, even though allegedly they left. But, she performed the song. And then she performed her new song, Big Difference. And she was like, oh, my sons are in the room. So, like, you're clearly talking about me.
Yeah.
So the shots were very clear.
Yeah. So, but it's still all alleged in terms of what started it. But you knew this was coming at some point that Meg was gonna respond, and she dropped her diss track. It it was kind of a diss track.
Hiss, by the way, for people who
Yeah,
know.
for anybody who wants to do their research on it. I don't know if I would call it a diss track. There's just subliminal bars in it.
I wouldn't say it was necessarily a diss track, but I definitely think it was a
response.
It was a response to everybody because
Yeah.
she threw multiple shots at multiple people, and it was basically like I'm the bad guy type. So like she's in her bad guy era. I
Yeah.
feel like Nicki started that whole Chun-Li bad guy era, by the way. But yeah, she's in her bad guy era now.
No, LeBron started it. If you know, you know.
I'm talking about in music.
It's a joke. It's a joke.
No, but everybody wants to be the bad guy now because Nicki started that. So it's just very
The bad
funny.
guy.
Yeah, it's just very funny. Everybody wants a hate train era now, like corny. But yeah, yeah, the song Hiss. Because that was like the whole thing, like when snakes hiss at their predators, it's like a warning. So this is basically like a warning song. Like I'm wrapping all this BS up, and I'm coming at Party, I'm coming at Drake, I'm coming at Nicki, I'm coming at anybody who said anything over the past year or 2 years. Tory, you know. So I wouldn't say it's a diss record, but it was definitely a dissing type of record. But it wasn't like a story added on, like where it's direct shots at people, like with name calling and stuff, like a diss track. But it definitely was a dissing type of record.
Right. And I'm not gonna comment on the quality of the song because I'm always of the belief that if you diss somebody, but it's probably my conditioning with rap is that typically diss songs that I've heard have like a certain type of beat to them. So I don't really like club bangers on diss tracks.
If it's a diss track, you want it just to be dissing. Like I don't want to hear this, and like how Drake did back to back.
I hated that
You
song.
made it like a radio song. Like you want to hear something that's like specifically like I made this directly for you, and on maybe a simple beat.
Right. Not only that, like I hate subliminals.
Yeah, say my name.
Like I'm just more so like be specific with anything, right? Like why does back to back exist and nobody's name was said?
Yeah, is it a girl's story, a world tour, a girl's tour, whatever?
Like just
why are you not saying Meek?
Just at the person. And I know that that's been a thing forever, and really Jay-Z's the one that really popularized that whole thing in the first place, with the subliminals. But
it's just the subliminals is actually kind of corny. Like I love the direct. Like when Pusha T dropped Story Adon, that was like one of my favorite moments. He said something Sandy never had. Drake, like he said Drake, like I'm saying your name.
Yeah, just say the name. Especially if you're jumping out the window, like you know this is gonna be a thing, so just say the name. Like
he said the baby's name. He said Adonis is your son. He's not throwing subliminals like you hide in the shower.
You are hiding a child.
He said Adonis is your son.
Yeah, so I like rap beef to be a certain type of way, but I won't comment on the quality of the song, but we could just talk about the content. Like you mentioned, she threw shots at Nicki with the
don't be mad at Megan, be mad at Megan's law.
Right.
Which Megan's law is the law that requires people to register as sexual predators. And fun fact, my coworker actually was just talking about Megan's law a few weeks ago because she knew the girl because they grew up in the same town, Hamilton, New Jersey. So, Jersey gang.
Don't know if we want to throw a shout out on that.
Well, no, that's not something to brag about. I'm just saying it's just interesting that she just told me about that weeks ago. I'm like, that's so crazy. And now everybody knows about Megan's law because of Megan Thee Stallion. But
there was that bar about Nicki's husband. She threw some shots at Drake about him allegedly getting lipo, getting his body done.
She threw shots at Party. She told him something about he's sniffing on Tina Snow. I don't know if that was like coke allegations, but
yeah,
talking about Party. And yeah.
Yeah, so there's a few different shots he threw around, and then Nicki went on an absolute monster tirade. Definitely Twitter Hall of Fame worthy, probably.
Yeah, Twitter, station head, Instagram Live. It was just very crazy.
Going crazy. So this is where the barbs are gonna kill me.
Barbs, please don't dox us. They've been on a roll. Well, try that actually. Try that, and we got something for that. Go ahead, try it. Right, so try it.
I mean, it wouldn't be hard. Like I put my first and last name everywhere. It's not hard to find. I probably make it easy for people.
But it's just it's really psychopathic what a lot of them are doing with this doxing stuff. But
yeah, people put more effort into getting money than put that same
more
effort.
More effort into defending someone who they don't know, who doesn't know them, than to get a job, a real job. Too much time in our hands.
But anyway, this is probably where they tune out of the conversation. Now, here's my thing. To first give her some slack, because a lot of the backlash that Nicki got was, of course, her acting like she's coked out and doing a lot of different. I mean, this has always been her, but the different mannerisms and the screaming and just the acting like odd, uh, manic kind of sort of episode thing. Number one, we know that's been her personality forever.
Lydia, performing arts kid.
But where this doesn't work in her favor, and to even before I get into that, the whole reason why I actually believe Megan did this was for the same reason that, like, I think she wanted to get this reaction from Nicki,
And she knew she would.
and she knew she would, because when you can't go against somebody that's bigger than you unless you have something so groundbreaking and earth shattering that you could destroy them, like, and not destroy in that sense, but like where people can confirm that you beat them in the rap beef. So like Pusha T obviously had so much information against Drake. So if you don't have that, which Megan clearly doesn't have,
Yeah.
as far as we know,
All she could talk about is her husband.
as far as we know,
Yeah.
the next best way is to make that person self-sabotage themselves. And that's kind of a little bit like Nicki's still going to be whoever she is. Like her fans are still going to always support her. But for those that might be on the fence or borderline or other businesses and stuff like that, this is the way to impact people. So this kind of rant and tirade doesn't necessarily work in her favor because people do have connections. And if she's concerned about being blackballed, which she is all the time, like these kind of things do paint you in a bad light. And the reason why I'm saying that is because the manic episode it looked like she had on the internet, and I know part of it might be a character, but regardless, it still is portrayed a certain way. So you're like,
And you still could be like a liability. Like you might not get invited to the Rock Nation brunch now.
right,
Because Meg's ties to Rock Nation. You brought up Rock Nation brunch in your rant. And now you liable to spat like that at the Rock Nation brunch.
not that she needs the Rock Nation brunch either, which is
No.
of course what people are going to say, but there's a couple things that happen from this where I could see it being spun like not in her favor. So number one of the first things she said is making fun of Megan's foot that she supposedly got shot in, right? So now you're making fun of women and domestic violence and gun abuse against black women. So that's number one, because I don't know what happened there that night, of course. I don't know if she got shot or not, but something happened to her foot. And if we're assuming what the court says was true, and I'm not saying it was or wasn't, but if we assume it was, you're making fun of somebody getting shot, which I could see a specific type of crowd being turned off by it because of domestic assault victims, and that obviously is a very sensitive area.
Yeah.
Number two, while she wasn't directly making fun of Meg's dead mother, she was trying to clown it.
Yeah.
And was rapping it on a beat, your dead mama, your dead, like that whole kind of thing.
Yeah.
Now you're bringing in dead relatives and stuff like that. Now here's my thing. When Pusha T was bringing up OVO 40 and his health issues, it's kind of a similar situation. There's nothing in that beef that had anything to do with 40.
Yeah.
And I'm a believer that in a beef, the person who defines the rules of war is the one that's willing to take it to whatever level. So this applies in that scenario too. So Meg brought up her husband.
Yeah, that's the thing. You let the person bring up the person first.
Right. So the
so
rules.
You want to talk about other people in my life? I'm talking about people in your life.
The rules.
That's hip hop.
Are now pushed to whoever's willing to take it to the next level. So that's where Nicki decided to take it. So while I don't necessarily agree with doing it, I think that the rules of war is she pushed it to that level. So now that's where the war exists.
Game. And we've seen it time after time. Like we can't judge this and then praise other rap beefs. So we've seen it time after time after time. Like someone brought up Tupac, talked about somebody dying from sickle cell in one of his rap beefs.
Yeah.
So like this is nothing new. People say egregious things because we don't have to agree that this is a good thing about rap. But in history of rap has always been about competition. I'm the best. I'm the best. I'm the best. We got beef. You bring up my wife. I'm talking about your husband. You're this. You're that. You're that. I'm talking about everybody. Your aunt, your grandma, your cousin, your baby cousin. Like when someone pushes the boundary, now it's fair game.
Yeah. So it's what it is.
Are you guys real hip hop fans or not?
But in my opinion, once there's a certain level of back and forth, after a certain point and after certain lines get crossed, then there's going to be, I'll invite you to a physical competition. and I'm literally just gonna offer to fight you, and then just have that be it. It could be televised, all that stuff. I'm just gonna want to physically fight you, and if lines get pushed even further, then people can die. It's just unfortunately what it is, right? Like we could say the Pusha T and Drake beef initially started because Birdman didn't pay Pharrell for a beat like decades ago, and as a result of that, if you look at the timeline of things, that guy at Pusha T's concert was put into critical condition and was stabbed allegedly a bunch of times and was put into critical condition, which
It's
all
wild.
started from Pharrell not getting paid allegedly, supposedly for a beat, right? So things could end up getting to a certain point, and for me, if certain things get brought up or certain lines get crossed, that's just where we're gonna take it.
Yeah.
But, um, but yeah, what do you think about the whole situation?
I mean,
I'll be right back.
I gotta pick up laptop. I see two sides, right? So I see the side of like Nicki's side of she's just fed up, right? Like a lot of sly, slick stuff happens behind the scenes that we would never really know about that she's dealing with. They've been messing with her for years. Like, we talked about like behind the off camera how like Remy Ma and I think Little Kim, whatever, they had like the obituary for Nicki, like we're having a funeral for her. People have continuously keep talking about her husband, like where are the shots at me? You keep talking about who I married and this and that, but what about the shots at me? It's like people have been kind of messy with Nicki like for years, right? Like using you for a feature, wanting you for the feature, bigging you up, and then like talking about you, like Ruby Rose, right? Been bigging up Nicki for years and years and years, right? But now you see her close friend, and you could change your mind, you're allowed to,
I'm gonna
but
expound on
the
that.
way she dragged her, like you could say, like you could disagree with the whole bringing up the mom, right? But now Ruby Rose talking about, oh, you're 40, blah blah blah. I was like, but now you kind of showing you're telling yourself you're saying all that, but you were trying to get a feature and you be gassing her up behind the scenes, I mean in public, but behind the scenes now it's she's old, she that you talking about my son. You could disagree with what she said about the mom, Meg's mom, but all the other stuff you're saying about you're old, this that, like now you're telling yourself. So I just feel like Nicki's just fed up, like all these people are using me, they're playing me, blah blah blah. Humans are allowed to react. Like just because she's famous and older doesn't mean she's not allowed to have a breaking point. And I just feel like she's reaching a breaking point, and she's just letting it out. Letting it out. And I don't agree with that. So just off camera, I still feel like I would be like, no matter what I would go through, and like I'm not in her position, but I would just be surgical about it. Be very like tactical. Be very play chess. You know me, I'm a chess move maker. I'm a chess mover person when it comes to beef. Like, so you're not gonna get, like we just talked about this in the last topic. You're not gonna get maybe chaotic a version of me. You're gonna get chess moves. So you might be trying to do all the stuff to me, but behind the scenes, I'm cooking up something that's gonna do more damage than me fighting you or me calling you names.
Yeah.
Like I've gotten people fired for trying to mess with me. So try if you want to. Like I'm that's why I feel like it's so much better to be tactical, surgical, like sly with it. Don't lash out. Don't go on live. Get in the booth and say these hard hitting bars. You could say, yeah, you lied on your dead mom, but say that in a such a bar that nobody could even try to flip it, that you're bringing up her mom, you're disrespecting her mom. Cause now it sounds like that when you can literally just say something like a one liner about like, you lied on your mom. That's wild. Like you love your mom, but you swore on your mom to party that you didn't sleep with these niggas, and you did. Like that's crazy. But put that in a rap. And I feel like Nicki could do this so much better than the rants. And I know she might be fed up, and I feel like people are allowed to express themselves the way they want to. But if it were me, it would not be what this was. This was a lot.
Do you think she's really spiraling with it? Because I can't really actually tell.
I can't tell because I feel like a part of it is trolling. But I don't know. I feel like part of it is kind of somewhat spiraling too. But I feel like I hate the whole label of somebody spiraling just because they're standing up for themselves.
No, it's not because they're standing up for themselves. It's like the way that it looks very similar to manic episodes.
Yeah, because it's like, but the thing about it, the reason why it might not be so manic though is because it's cohesive. Manic is kind of all over the place, But she's saying cohesive thoughts. Like she's staying on brand. It's not like she's jumping subjects.
That's not what manic means, though.
But yeah, that's true. That's true. Because manic can still be hyper fixated on the topic and just keep talking about it. So but it's hard to tell because I've been there. I've been extremely disrespected and fed up and be like, you've seen. I'd be typing up whole paragraphs on my phone of messages I'd be wanting to send to people, right? Like when I'm mad. And it could look manic because it's like you just have a lot to say. But it might not be manic. You just might have a lot to say because you've been holding it in, You've been letting shit slide, and then now you finally have a lot to say. So it's very borderline between what's considered a manic episode and what's genuinely just somebody who's fed up, who's just getting everything out their chest.
You know what my thing is? Really what my issue is, because I want to make that clear, is not that I have an issue with her responding.
Yeah.
And this is what you were just saying, really, about, be tactical. It's really just the way that she responded.
Yeah.
Is that get in the studio. Like, it takes away
the rap culture of it.
Didn't somebody just say, like, did somebody get doxxed or somebody for, like, saying that Nicki don't... Oh, yeah, she did. I think something happened to this girl where she was like, Nicki doesn't know that she's Nicki Minaj or something like that, or something like that.
Yeah, because Nicki's been fighting with people on TikTok lately, apparently, too. But yeah, she's like, Nicki Minaj doesn't know that she's Nicki Minaj, which wasn't an insult. She was just saying, like, come on, you're that girl. Act like it.
It is
an insult.
Defensive.
It is kind of it is kind of an insult because, like, girl, I am her. So what do you mean I don't know who?
But I feel the same way.
You might not know me. Like, just because that's how I react, that's because that's who I am. Like, you must not know who Nicki is. Then if you want Nicki to react something like a different way, who's not me, then you don't know me. So I see both sides. Because that's the thing. Who are we to tell Nicki how to react and how to respond? Like, she's herself. She's her her own person. And somebody talked about your husband. Somebody that you love, the father of your child. Like, we can't tell people how to react. Like we just said earlier, people crash out and kill sometimes over stuff like this. So who are we to tell her how to react? Like, I get it, it's rap, but also, you're still human at the end of the day.
Because here's the thing. For example, I'm just saying what my preference would be. Like, for example,
same.
We have Drake and Pusha T. They had their rap beef, right? And they put it on songs and stuff like that. Nobody
and back-to-back songs too. It was like back and forth. We got like
W Freestyle. We got Adonis. We got all types of songs.
It was like, and then we had the Pusha T era where he was dropping his album, and like it was a lot of back and forth music that we got during that time.
Right. And then still within that, you see that there was a whole lot of stuff that happened outside of those things, like Pusha T getting banned from Canada.
Yeah.
People
buying all the seats for his show.
Right. Getting put in critical condition shortly after. So there's a whole other list of things that could still occur if you want to have those things occur.
But at least it was music.
Nobody's coming on live and doing all those different things.
And tweeting.
And while, of course, that might be who she is, and that's perfectly fine, my preference would just be for it to be just like hard hitting, like, this is tough. Because you said she put that, what was it, a tweet? And she was like, for a free beat, you could hit Megan Raw. Yeah. Like something like that on a beat where they take the beat out.
Because like now it's like, dang, like you tweeted it, so that doesn't sting no more. But imagine you put that in a bar.
And she could still do it.
She could still, but it won't hit the same because we heard it already. Like we saw you tweet it. Imagine if she would have said that in a bar, we would have been like, oh,
right. And
that's a good comeback to the Megan's Law thing. Because it's like, what you talking about my husband when everybody's hitting it wrong? Like she could have said something. She could have easily made it like hit. And like, it's like, dang, because that's how you win. Because then people would not be able to like, say nothing. Like, yeah, people could keep talking about your husband and who you married, blah, 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 blah. But let's talk, like how Richard T said, like, let's stop talking about who we date. Let's talk about you. Let's talk about who you are as a person. Let's talk about, like what he said, let's talk about character. Let's talk about who you are. Let's stop talking about my wife, the kids, this, that. Let's talk about you.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. I don't think Megan has anything that she can say to Nicki.
Yeah. The only thing you could say is that she's maybe a little crazed out and like the coke allegations. But even like, that, like, okay,
that's not anything substantial.
Yeah, but so we could say, yeah, the whole industry hit. Like, you slept with your best friend's fling at the time. You have a lot of issues, alcoholism problems. Like, there's so much you could say about her.
Yeah,
and it's like. That's why people like she probably don't want that smoke. That's why you brought it. Well, maybe she does because you don't know what you're doing when you bring up someone's husband. You know that the wrath is coming.
Right, because that's why I'm trying to question what was the tactical aspect of it.
It's kind of corny that all these girls that beef with Nicki, all they talk about is the coke allegations and the husband. What else? Like talk about the body. If you want to talk about Nicki, that's something they could have. Her body, like I mean, she looks better now, but she was looking a mess not so long ago.
Yeah,
She was on the stage, be doing weird stuff on the stage. Talk about that stuff.
which is why I had actually liked Ruby's response more than
What did Ruby
anything
say?
Megan said, but just in
Oh,
the
that message that
close
she
friends
said.
thing.
Yeah.
And for those of y'all that don't know, Ruby Rose, somebody in her close
Body.
friends, on Instagram, somebody screenshotted her talking shit about
Which is
Nicki.
wild, because I feel like you gotta figure out who that person
Yeah,
was.
you gotta close
That's
out.
crazy.
You gotta
Your close friends should just be who you know in real life, like your real friends, like your day ones.
And this is all alleged, I guess.
No, this was a screen. I saw the screen recording.
Oh, was it recording?
Yeah.
Oh, all right. I just saw a screenshot.
Yeah, no, I saw the recording. Like someone tapping through the story.
Oh, cool. So it's confirmed that she posted that, and I think the things that she said in there would be more hard hitting than anything Meg said.
Yeah.
But I will also say at the same time, because people were saying say it with your chest, but my thing is that most of the people that are considered barbs don't even have real profile pictures. They have like these finstas anyway where they talk shit. So it's kind of like you can't really say it with your chest when you don't say it with your chest either. So it's kind of like throwing a stone with the glass house kind of situation.
But it still is kind of true though, because if you're gonna speak on it and publicly defend Meg, then the public defend her.
But it wasn't really public per se.
Yeah, but Meg might be in her close friends.
She could be.
And I think that, you know, the rap community, they're all kind of friends and cool. So that could have been her way of showing support to Meg. But
the only credence I was trying to give her is if you just assume that was like the equivalent of just having that conversation in a group chat or like privately or something like that.
Yeah. But then
because everybody does that.
Yeah.
Because everybody does that, right? Like we have conversations that we would never say about, like
Yeah.
even this topic. There's certain things that I would say and I would never say on
But
this
the only
camera.
thing about that though is that she would do all that like in her group chat or her close friends. But I promise you, Nicki, like the next day were to hit her up for a collab, she would take it. And now you just look crazy to your friends and your close friends because like, are you gonna stand on your morals or not?
Maybe not.
And Ruby, no offense, like she's like the messenger is not the right person. Like you defended Ian Connor, all those women came out about him and him being like a rapist, and you defended him. But then you're gonna talk about who Nicki married, but like look who you defended. She's still cool with Cardi, like Playboy Cardi, and he shot a gun at you. And she just posted her story like a few days ago of them on FaceTime together. And he literally shot a gun at you. So no offense, she's not the right person to talk about who somebody chose as a partner. Because she's kind of one of those women who I think was young and got used by older men. And unfortunately, women like that who are fast, right, end up having like I think a lot of traumas and weird emotional ties to, you know, traumas and stuff. So they're very male-centered women. So she's not the person. You kind of sound like a hypocrite. But that's a whole. I like Ruby, so I'm not trying to bash on her. But it's just like I feel like people are just too hypocritical situations like this. Everybody's moral compass moves because they're coming for Nicki. I was talking about a mom, right? But some people who are really close with Cardi B are saying that, or Cardi B fans are saying that. But Cardi B has multiple tweets telling Akbar to dig up her dead mom, or your mom is dancing in her grave, like literally disrespecting the mom. Like Nicki was just saying apologize, like conjure her up and apologize. But Cardi B was literally saying your dead mom, that like, you know, dig her up. Cardi B has said that stuff too, but those same people who are Cardi B like friends and fans are now dragging Nicki. Like I just think people pick and choose when they want to be moral. Yeah, I don't like that. Like
I see that a lot.
Stand clear on the same page for every situation. Yeah, it's like people are talking about like she's disrespecting her dead mother when she literally didn't do that. Like she just said you should conjure up your mother and apologize. Like yeah, maybe the word conjure was a little rough. Maybe the line, your dead mama was a lot. But it's not like she's disrespectful. Like said like your mom, your dead ass, blah blah blah, whack ass, blah blah blah. Like it's not like she's disrespecting her mom directly. But yeah, it's disrespectful to talk about. Like that's a sensitive topic. But I just feel like this is not new in rap. Like, and these were the same people. That's what I talk about the goalposts. Same people that be in the club like twerking to smoking on that op pack. They be like smoking on that op pack. They be like repeating the bars. So it's in one sense you're glorifying killing culture. You're glorifying disrespecting, dancing on somebody's grave, spitting on somebody's grave. Well, Kanye had piss on your grave, piss on your grave. You know that song, him and what's his name, Schoolboy Q. Was it Schoolboy Q in that?
No, it's Travis.
Oh, Travis. Oh my God, I'm thinking
Schoolboy Q.
I'm thinking of what's that other song with Schoolboy? That part. That was the same era. But you know, people listen to the music all the time where they disrespect dead people and they don't even know what they're rapping. They're just literally rapping because the song sounds cool.
But I think that's why I don't think people even know what they're saying.
but still, that's still hypocrisy to me because you're saying stuff and repeating stuff. They don't even know what you're talking about. But then now you're mad at Nicki for saying that. But you literally talking about smoking Tuka pack. Like you're talking about a dead person that you don't know. That you're disrespecting a dead man, a dead kid. He was a kid. And you're repeating that because you think it's cool. You think you sound cool and sound hip and whatever that you're trying to do, right? But then now your moral compass is all of a sudden like, she's talking about her mother. That's so wrong. But people rap songs that talk about killing people all day. Like my whole thing is if you're gonna stand by something, stand by it in every aspect of your life. Don't just stand by a heat because you don't like Nicki. If you think disrespecting dead people is whack, or talking about the dead is whack, then don't talk about the dead in any aspect. Because you sound even crazier repeating lyrics talking about a dead person that you don't even know. Who's somebody's son, somebody's dad, somebody's brother, you know? So please, people are just too hypocritical for me. Too hypocritical. And like I said, they just move the goalposts to whatever aligns with them at the right time. You know? They want to sound like they want to sound like they're so, holier than thou, and they want to detest anything that Nicki's saying about Meg's mom. But then the next post in their story is Tukaville smoking on Tuka pack. No.
I don't know if I've ever seen a woman say those words.
Are you serious? Women be trying to cosplay gangsters all the time, throwing up gang signs, and Ruby's the biggest one. What'd she say? My nigga taught me gang signs. Didn't she say that? What's that song? One of her most popular songs.
Don't know.
I remember everybody was making fun of her. To like, are you blood or Crip? Like she be trying to cosplay that gangster stuff all the time. So you know for sure a lot of these women are repeating a lot of these gangster songs. So they think it's quirky and cool to be like, I'm a gangster, gun. Like, I see it a lot. So it's just, I believe if you're gonna have a stance on something, it gotta be consistent.
That's why I tend to not say anything because
most people are hypocrites.
Because that's why. It's like,
yeah.
I'm never gonna say any, like, if I'm bringing something up, it's because my mentality on that thing is consistent across all boards.
Yeah.
So
same.
Which is why I brought up the Pusha T thing in the beginning. So I wasn't so offended when Pusha T brought up 40 and his health condition.
Me neither.
So I can't
that's
be
a crazy bar. Like that
can't be so offended about this either.
Yeah.
Or any of the past stuff that people, like the egregious things people have said in the past. So I'm just consistent. So, but that's like one of the things I've hated about this whole thing so far from all sides is that everybody is throwing stones in a glass house. And this is why it makes sense to not say anything, because like Meg is responding to Nicki's diss, and she's saying certain things, but it's like these kind of, like, you have this whole other thing that all these other things that people can say in response. So it's just kind of like, it makes sense to not say anything at all when there's, like, nobody's perfect. So somebody can always say everything, can always say something about you, but there's some people that... At least
if you had a solid stance or something and say something, you don't look crazy.
Yeah, so it's just like the fans' responses to certain things, it's just like, it's so backwards. Like the example I gave you when they were saying that Ruby was throwing a stone and blah 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 and say it with your chest, but I'm like, yo, you're on a fence.
You're not saying
you have a fake profile.
Yeah, so it's like,
it just,
and that's why it's funny because I noticed it's like, especially I'm on Twitter a lot, so many arguments are circular. So many, it could be either could be thrown back to a person about being a hypocrite, because humans are naturally just hypocritical,
right? Which is why everybody should just shut the fuck up.
We're so exactly. And like, or like I said, if you have a solid stance on something that you've been consistent with your whole life, right? Like obviously, most people would agree, and obviously this us, we have a solid stance on like rape and murder. So we always gonna talk about that stuff. But then you can easily say you're a hypocrite because you'll listen to music from somebody who's considered a rapist. People still play R. Kelly, right? People still play Trey songs. People swore up and down that they hated Kanye. He's anti-Semitic, and he's not who everybody tries to act like he is. But then you playing "Can't Tell Me Nothing" on your graduation song, on your graduation post. So it's like there's too many hypocrisies and hypocrites. So many arguments just become very circular every single time. So it's just funny because you see it, like, because it always could be a rebuttal. It's like, but this you. Like you could keep saying this you about everything.
Which is why
because it's
everybody should just
people. Yeah,
be quiet about it. I mean, you could say, because even me saying that, you could say that's a circular argument because we're on a podcast talking about it.
yeah.
So you can say these things
But we
forever.
accept that because we're self-aware.
And also the things that I'm saying on my podcast, I believe this to be truthful across all scenarios. So that's the one thing where people don't make sense, is that they don't ever point out the things when they're wrong or where their inconsistencies might be. Like, people aren't just self-aware. So like it's just, that's really the biggest thing I've taken away from it, is that on all parties, Nicki, Cardi B, Partisan, like all these different parties that's involved in this specific thing, Ruby, it's just stones in glass house.
Yeah. Like, I feel like with all
and from the
them,
fans too.
Yeah, from the fans too.
Like, they're a part of it too. Like, you're making these comments about, millionaire beef. Like,
and you and your mom's on your mom's Wi-Fi.
Some of these things that you're saying too, like, I'm sure that they're applicable to people in your life as well.
Yeah, literally, that's the biggest thing. Yeah, you probably know somebody.
Yeah, you know somebody. Your friend is probably like this. I've seen that so many times where it's like somebody will say something talking shit about a specific type of person, and I'm like, yo, like, you're friends with the person. That's
some
just
of the
like
barbers
this.
might be saying, "Oh, Meg was sleeping with Tory Lanez when he was with Kelsey," but you got friends that's sleeping with.
That's a bop it.
Yeah,
the whole bop it.
Or Meg's ran through by the whole industry, but you had friends that was ran through by the whole junior class, the whole high school, the whole college campus. So,
which is why nobody should say anything about anything.
But your friend probably got more bodies than Meg.
And if we even count the people that people are saying it is, it's still not a lot either. But I would assume,
but that's what we
based
know.
on the behavior, you can
it
make
was
assumptions.
Bunny Bag Yo, the baby, I think, right? Tory Lanez, Party, the soccer player guy that she was with, Drake probably potentially. Who else? G-Eazy. Who else was she seeing with? I think she was like messing with Trey Songz. Right now we're at 8 already, and I'm sure her body count is definitely in probably 20s, 30s. I don't know. I'm not gonna talk about her, but because obviously her own personal life at home, right? And she's had most people that she dated, and that's 8 people I could say on top of my head. But
yeah, because even within that argument, then you got the people that they believe in my body, my choice, sexual liberation. So it's just
however you live.
It's just like there's so many different like circular arguments to everything, and it's like one of those things where I can't necessarily understand women beefs because of these kind of things where there's just so much like women talk so fucking much. Yeah. So it's just like they're always just so strongly opinionated. There's all these different opinions that they have on everything. They have to have an opinion on everything and comment on everything. And when you comment on everything, you have an opinion on everything, then you will find that you're not very consistent in your thought processes. So basically, this whole thing is just not really for me, obviously, as a male. But
in my opinion, I just feel like don't jump out of the window and say anything that you know you're not consistent in your mindset about. Like, don't put it in a rap beef, don't tweet it, nothing that you know that somebody could come back and say, this you?
Or, don't do it. Yeah, because you said inconsistencies.
Don't talk about rapists when you messing with rapists or when you're friends with rapists, alleged rapists.
But in addition to inconsistencies, also just things that people can make a negative comment about in general.
Yeah.
If you're in a beef, because it's just gonna be like the first thing.
Yeah, like the thing with we keep bringing Pusha T because obviously he was one of the best to do it in recent times, right? If you're gonna have beef, then talk about concrete stuff. Like Pusha T didn't hide a kid, so you could talk about somebody hiding a child because you didn't do that yourself.
And not only that,
and he probably not friends with people who did that.
And not only that, he really didn't have anything so obvious that Drake could say even outside of that specific type of topic. But
and I mean, the argument could be though, right? Like he talked about Drake's deadbeat dad, right? But Pusha T probably has friends with deadbeats. But even still, that's not necessarily.
That ain't me.
Yeah, it's not me. You can't say it about me. Yeah, you were talking about us versus us. So like, yeah, I might have friends that are deadbeats, and I still might have the same sentiment. But you as like him talking to Drake, he's like, but that impacts you more than maybe my friend.
There's another thing.
Yeah.
That I brought up before, and your retort was that. Well, I'll say it first. Nicki making fun of Meg's flow on the live.
Oh yeah.
When the flow was perfectly fine when it was time to do music and songs and all that other stuff, but then the second you have a beef with the person, now all of a sudden her flow's trash.
And I always hate that about women, especially with when you beef with somebody, all of a sudden they're the opposite of what they were to you.
And the way that you responded was that maybe it's because she has been doing a similar sort of flow for
years now.
years now in comparison when they were working together. But even still, it's like one of those things.
And I low key don't feel like her flow was as it is now than it was back then. I feel like
me either.
Like if you think about Hot Girl Summer, she was talking like slow. Even WAP, it was like it wasn't like how Nicki was kind of mocking her. Like I feel like she's definitely been doing that a lot more lately. Like she wasn't doing all that really when she first came out.
Like even
as
body.
much. Yeah.
Look at her.
Like yeah, her flows definitely weren't like that too much. And like so. I feel like
that's what I mean. It's like
mocking the flow,
it's
but
just
it
like
still is.
it's inconsistent.
It's like you be friends with a girl, right? And you're the prettiest girl in the world, right? But you beefing out all of a sudden, you ugly, you this, you that. It's like whoa.
And I can imagine, like I said, I can imagine the same thing if there was Ice Spice beef where and then she gonna bring up, you think you're the shit? You're not even a fault.
Yeah, like what is that? That's so trash. Like because that's how people are. Like they'll be friends with somebody or be cool with somebody. But then they use everything against them all of a sudden when we're not friends.
But just like you said with the Ruby thing, right? All that stuff those things didn't matter before when you were trying to get XYZ out of what you wanted out of the situation.
Lada was a big example. Lada was in Nicki's DMs begging for a feature. But then all of a sudden, you don't get the feature, not just him beefing. All of a sudden, super freaky grandma, super freaky granny. All of a sudden, is your man's a rapist. But none of that was an issue for you a month ago when he was in my DM trying to get a feature, sending me songs. So it's just like you look stupid.
It's 3:30 in the morning.
You look like a hater and a weirdo. Well, it is.
Jesus. Yeah, that's why I'm like, all of this sort of women beef is just like
embarrassing.
It's because it's just all over the place. But we'll see what comes of it, and of course we'll keep y'all updated with our thoughts on this whole situation.
Yeah, we might have more next week, right?
Well,
we don't know what's gonna happen in a week. Oh my god, yeah, we don't know.
Nicki might drop a song.
She should drop a song. I mean, I think it will still hit at this point.
If she drops a diss track,
I just wish she dropped it. Like she could have easily that whole day. Cause the song dropped Friday morning. She could have easily that whole day Friday in the studio writing. Don't say nothing, and drop a diss.
Yeah,
it would have went crazy. Probably would have charted potentially.
Yep.
Because his charted. I think. Well, I don't know if it charted for Billboard yet. Right? I don't know if they count that, but it was like number one on iTunes or Apple Music. Whatever.
Who cares where it charts? I want the bars.
Yeah.
Who knows where Adidon charted, if at all, which it probably didn't.
That's the thing. Like caring about the number of stuff is kind of whack.
Yo,
like,
stop bringing up numbers and money.
It's Nicki does that too. Like we don't care.
We don't care about numbers and money.
Because you got a fan base.
Cornballs get money and numbers too.
Yeah. But obviously, like you said, Story Adidon, I don't think that charted anywhere. I don't think that was even an official release. It was like a YouTube release or a SoundCloud.
Because it was on Jay-Z's beat, so it wasn't even like a.
It wasn't cleared.
Yeah.
And he ate Drake up. Like I'm sure that
no,
I'm sure that this haunts him to this day. We bodied him, and then with the blackface picture sealed the deal. Like that picture of him with the black painted face looking stupid. Oh man, that was just like.
What was that bar he said recently? He said something about whips like American slaves.
Who said that?
Drake.
I don't remember that, but why are you talking about American slaves as a Canadian, a mixed breed Canadian?
Anyway, thank you guys for watching.
I guess his dad, right? His dad got the roots.
Thank you guys for watching. This has been a couple of.
No, but listen, real quick. I just think anybody who has no ties.
He's about to die.
I know, but I just think anybody who has no ties to like actual slavery really should talk about it. But Drake might come from his dad's side, but I actually get offended even when like non-Black Americans try to bring up slavery and stuff. It's just like your ancestors weren't even here to experience that. So please watch your mouth.